What's going on, guys? It's time for my World Cup 2022 knockout stage predictions. So before we get into the video, please don't forget that if you enjoy it, press the subscribe button and let's go.
Do it.
So let's get into these knockout stage predictions. Now before we begin, yes, the Nations League has taken place since my group stage video came out, and I've made one change to that group stage prediction that I made, in that I've swapped the order of England and Wales in their group, saying now that England no longer top it. Yeah, I can already hear the salt pouring from the England fans, but well, let's get on with it. To start off, we actually have that English team. They're going to be playing the Netherlands. The Netherlands have looked absolutely either invincible or really, really lucky in their Nations League campaign. They've gotten two absolute salt wins against Wales before following that up by absolutely destroying Belgium and an unfortunate, really, draw against Poland where they did manage to come from 2 down. England, meanwhile, were battered by Hungary. They were battered by Hungary again. They got a 0-0 draw against Italy. Didn't deserve a penalty against Germany, but still managed to draw. The Netherlands have to go through in this case. At this point, I don't think anyone actually knows how many games Argentina have been unbeaten for. France, meanwhile, are 1 game away from being relegated to League B in the Nations League. This is yet another game that should really only go one way. And if you do believe in the champion's curse, then maybe even France will be out at the group stage. But I can't see that happening. However, Argentina are going straight through to the quarterfinals. Now here is possibly the tightest game of the whole round of 16. Wales, a side who have one standout player, and then the rest of their team seems like it should be underperforming, but yet seriously overperforms all the time. Senegal have an absolutely legendary Sadio Mane, who's capable of turning any game around in the space of no time at all. However, if I really have to pick one, and I do think this could go to extra time, I'm seeing Wales just about edge this. However, if it goes to penalties, which it just about could, I can also see Senegal making it out. So do you know what? I'm going to change my mind and I'm going to send Senegal through to the quarterfinals. Denmark and Poland. Again, another really, really interesting game. Denmark, the dark horse story of the Euros, and Poland a side with Robert Lewandowski, who could be about to move to Barcelona. Who do I think is going to get through? Well, Denmark overall are just a cohesive defensive unit capable of scoring just as many goals as well. Poland, however, don't look as solid defensively, and for that reason, I'm sending Denmark through to the quarters. Germany and Canada. This is a one-sided game. You have one side who have Hansi Flick as manager, and one who's only just qualified for their first ever World Cup. As much as I'd love to see Canada move on, I just can't see past Germany destroying them in this round. The same goes for our next game with Brazil and South Korea. We've already had this fixture, and while it was, I believe, only a 1-0 win for Brazil a couple of weeks back, I do see it being just as heavy for Brazil in this time around. Moving on to Croatia and Spain, and this is a really, really interesting game, given the fact that Croatia almost came back against Spain in the Euros. This time around, though, Spain have had a lot more time to develop, and their manager is absolutely fantastic in Luis Enrique. I just can't see this match being quite as close this time around. I'm going to send Spain through, possibly by a 2-1 or even 3-1 scoreline. The final match of the round of 16 is Portugal and Switzerland. Switzerland won this in the Nations League, and as far as I can remember, that was away in Portugal, which is a fantastic result. Switzerland are possibly one of the most underrated sides in Europe, but Portugal have Ronaldo, and he is the X factor that any side would need to get through any game, no matter how hard it would be. However, as I said for Switzerland in the group stage, They edged Serbia in my predictions, and Serbia edged Portugal in the real qualifiers. So for that reason, I'm going to send Switzerland through, possibly by a 1-0 scoreline. On we go to the quarterfinals. First up, the Netherlands versus Argentina. Possibly the two most confident and informed sides in the entire world. So really, this could be Europe against South America. However, I think the extra motivation that Argentina will have with it being Messi's last World Cup is going to send them through, but this could be a scintillating encounter. Very similar match with Germany against Brazil. Brazil have a fantastic attack and their defence is fairly cohesive. However, Germany have a brilliant defence and their attack is not quite as cohesive. The edge that Germany have, though, is the prowess of their manager, and I think that Germany will be just about able to tactically outmaneuver Brazil, a side who have been unbeaten in so many games. Senegal, the African side who are able to make history with a win in this game, up against Denmark, a side who, if they make it to a second consecutive tournament semi-final, will finally show the world that they should not be a dark horse anymore. And to be honest with you, I can see that happening. Kasper Schmeichel is a goalkeeper in the Premier League. He's used to Sadio Mane, and while of course Sadio Mane will also be familiar with him, I think the edge that Denmark have in having such a fantastic goalkeeper against Senegal's attack, which really may just boil down to one single player in Mane, I think Denmark have the edge here, and that will just about scrape past and end the history makers in Senegal. Spain and Switzerland. We all know what happened in the Euros. It went to penalties, and despite Switzerland's heroic effort in penalties against France the round prior, Spain managed to edge them out. This time around, I can't see it being as close. Spain have a fantastic, phenomenal even manager in Luis Enrique, as I've already said, and they just might destroy Switzerland. I'm sorry to Switzerland fans, you need to prove me wrong here with your team, because I know you can go a long way, and if Switzerland do get through, their defensive efforts may just have been enough to get to the final. However, I can see Spain edging them out in this encounter. Well, here we are, the replay of the 2014 final, and if this is a game that has extra time draw written all over it, this is the one. Absolutely. This I could see, despite all of the phenomenal attack from Argentina, the defending from Germany, and sporadic attacks from Germany, I can see this going all the way to penalties. I'm going to deal this out as being who has the best penalty takers, and to be honest with you, I think that could be Germany. Argentina have Messi, yes, Lautaro Martinez. However, Germany just seem to have a grit at deciding really, really close encounter games. So I'm sending Germany through as my first finalist. Personally, I believe that Spain are going to edge Denmark. I've gone on and on about how good their manager is and how good their entire team is overall. Yes, they don't have the most flourishing attack, relying on just Alvaro Morata to score the most of their goals. However, they have a determination about them, and they have youth on their side. I think personally that this is going to send them through to the final. I've seen a lot of people saying that Pedri is going to be a young player in the tournament, and to be honest with you, I cannot possibly disagree with that. I'm saying they are going to be the side set out to avenge Messi and play Germany in the World Cup final. But ultimately, they will fall in the final to Germany. Both of the sides' attacks are not the best in the world. We have Timo Werner for Germany and of course Morata for Spain. That is arguably going to lead to a cagey, low-scoring final, just as they should be to build the tension. However, the German defence has been together for a long, long time. In fact, really stretching back to the 2014 World Cup. And I think this experience is going to be what edges it for Germany. They are my winners of the World Cup 2022.